In a major province on the island of Java, a massive hydrological crisis is unfolding. As of mid-February 2026, the scale of the disaster has reached a critical point, with 42 villages across 10 subdistricts now submerged. This is not a static flood, it is a moving target. In the highland areas where the rain first fell, the water is finally starting to recede, but for those living in the lowlands, the nightmare is only beginning. The runoff from the mountains is surging toward the coast, causing water levels in downstream communities to rise even as the rain stops. The human cost of this surge is immense, now affecting approximately 9,000 households.
Semoga masih bisa terevakuasi. Ya. Ada orang di dalam. Ya.
Because formal, centralized shelters were not yet fully operational during the initial surge, thousands of families were forced to take their lives into their own hands. Under the cover of darkness, they conducted independent evacuations, carrying children and elders through the rising tide to reach the homes of relatives or any patch of ground high enough to remain dry. While thousands of homes are filled with silt, at least one family has lost everything as their residence was completely destroyed by the force of the water. The physical barriers designed to protect these people have reached their breaking point. The sources describe a catastrophic series of infrastructure failures, with river levees failing in multiple locations. In one area, the banks were torn open, leaving two massive 15-meter gaps that allowed the current to pour directly into neighboring villages. In several other districts, the levees simply could not hold the volume of the rivers, leading to at least 4 other major breaches. These are not just leaks. They are systemic failures that have turned entire neighborhoods into extensions of the river itself. The impact on the local economy and daily life is profound. In one of the most heavily populated residential complexes, over 1,100 families are struggling to survive in a landscape where the water previously reached 1 meter in height. This depth makes movement nearly impossible and destroys everything inside the home. Beyond the residential walls, the land itself is suffering. Over 100 hectares of rice fields, the primary source of income for many, have been swallowed by the muddy currents. Where there should be a harvest, there is now only a vast, stagnant lake.
Rupa pam sudah hancur.
On the ground, the response is a 24-hour battle. Disaster agencies, the military, and local volunteers are working in shifts to monitor the rising levels through emergency communication networks. They are navigating boats into the hardest-hit zones to rescue those still trapped, while simultaneously distributing food, logistics, and field mattresses to the displaced. In a desperate attempt to stop the cycle, workers are using manual labor to heighten the remaining levees, hoping that hand-piled defenses will be enough to stop the next surge of water. The crisis is mirrored on the island of Sumatra, but here the tragedy is defined by its repetition. For the people of this region, this is the third major disaster they have faced since late November 2025. It began with flash floods and landslides in late autumn, followed by a second surge in early February, and now, just 5 days later, a third strike. This is no longer just a flood, it is a violent reshuffling of the landscape. These surges carry massive logs and heavy sediment from the mountains, hurling them into residential streets and onto main roads, effectively cutting off the community from the outside world. In areas prone to landslides, residents have once again been forced to abandon their homes as the earth beneath them becomes unstable. The local leadership speaks of a profound community fatigue, a state of psychological exhaustion where the population is simply worn down by the constant threat of nature. They are living in a state of emergency transition, trying to recover while the sky remains gray and heavy. According to meteorological reports, the danger has not passed. With the clouds still hanging low over the island, the people are told to remain on high alert, waiting for a peace that has not yet come.